talking, and we was really vibing. Welcome to Nene's Damn Podcast. And I am your host, Ms. Nene Gemini, the host with the most and a smile you can't forget. And I am here with Brian Knowles. But before I get started, happy Mental Men's Health Awareness Month. I'm happy Juneteenth, happy Pride Month. We just ended Gemini season, so it's Cancer season now, but big ups to all my Geminis. On Nene's Damn Podcast, we talk about things that are impactful. We talk to impactful people. We just talk to anybody that want to come and catch a vibe on Nene's Damn Podcast. So, without further ado, have the Malcolm X of Palm Beach County because that's what he is, combined all into one. So we have Mr. Brian Knowles. And let me give you your flowers first. So Mr. Brian Knowles, recognized twice by the Legacy magazine as one of South Florida's top Black educators 2018 and 2021. Over 17 years of experience in education, including 9 years as a classroom teacher, 8 years leading the Department of African American, Latino Holocaust Studies, Palm Beach County District, served as an adjunct professor at the Watson Institute at Lynn University, teaching social impact leadership, featured content expert for NPR and Ever5, published Journal of Literacy and Innovation, Art and Culture of Palm Beach County Magazine, founder of Build Power Builders Curriculum and Pedagogy. I like how you said that. Say it again.
Pedagogy.
It's like an Italian word. Like, develop innovative secondary level courses, including the African American experience in the 20th century through music and visual arts, exploring hip hop as literature, and author of new Afrocentric history workbook series, Mr. Brian Knowles, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that introduction. I just thank God for what He's allowed me to do. I appreciate it.
And
I appreciate you inviting me.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. So I like to ask people how did they become this person as an adult? So as a child, were you the one that were interested in like learning about Black history, reading the encyclopedias? Because my daddy made me read the encyclopedia, Black history. Like it was imperative that I knew my culture and where I came from. So were you that person?
Absolutely. So I've always enjoyed reading.
Okay.
Right. I've always been kind of hyper fixated on reading and literature. And part of the reason why I got into what I do today and I advocate so hard for Black history, first of all, I understand the power of representation, and I learned that power of representation because there was a book my mother bought me around African American inventors and also around ancient Egypt when I was in fourth grade. And all the things that I saw in that, because it was just so unfamiliar from just the traditional curriculums and the lessons that I was getting in the classroom, it just opened my eyes to so much and understanding of what Black people have done. Coming up in the 80s and 90s, there was a lack of representation, in the school and even on television. All your commercials were white. All my favorite superheroes and characters were all white. And I even remember at one point, as a young kid, I wanted to be white because I had seen positive representation and I thought that was better. But just my eyes are being open to understanding that, us as Black folks, we have made so many positive, powerful contributions that are usually not taught to us. And we're never allowed to understand our agency and the power that we possess within us with our history. So that right there just kind of set me on a trajectory and just almost like a hyperfixation on Black history and culture.
I like that. I love that. I think the first time I found out about you, I was working at the school and somebody was like, oh yeah, they teaching Black history. I was like, what? And you were teaching it. And I was like, and then I think I had missed the sign up date. I was like, oh my God. So every time you were teaching something or you had a course, I would always miss it. I was like, why? What's going on? Okay. So welcome.
Thank you.
I love that. And congratulations on your new workbook.
Absolutely. It's a series of them. So that's one out of four.
I had to get the high school.
The high school one. I feel you.
Because I'm going to use it.
All right.
I'm going to use it. So tell us, how did you get into what motivated you to create the workbook?
Working in Palm Beach County schools and just working within education, public education for about almost 20 damn years. And, advocating for Black history and culture and even having that position with our local school district, I still saw gaps and I still saw a resistance to include our history and culture in our school system to do right by our kids. So eventually I started thinking of how I can create publications more geared towards, because these workbook series are more geared towards community, our parents, our home schools, because I think the future of public education is real despondent right now. I'm not very optimistic of how things are headed, because even before we entered into this political era that we're in now, people weren't touching our history anyway. Like you say, years ago when somebody said that we teach them Black history, you're like, do we have that? Wow, right? You're surprised and shocked. So because of that and looking at the gaps and understanding where the gaps were, especially in social studies, and start looking at those and start developing these series and develop them in a way that they're concise, they're not exhaustive readings, right? They're real concise, easy to use for, their mother in the church, the aunties, the men in the community can just pick this up without being a professional educator and not empower, right? I don't use the word empower students, right? Because all of us are born with God-given power. It's innate. And what happens in education, we have the opportunity to cultivate that power and allow students to discover that power. So I hope what this workbook series can do is just start the journey like it did for me as a kid and discovering that power for for that young generation.
And I love how the activities are age appropriate for the different age groups. So I know you have 9th through 12th grade.
6 to 8. I got 4 and 5, and I got grade 3.
Okay.
So I go 3 through 12.
Okay. So tell us about your company, Teach, Heal, and Build.
Yeah, so educational consulting company. So I develop curriculum. I do professional development and capacity building with educational leaders and also teachers. And my focus is more of a niche, and I deal with Afrocentric history. So all of my materials and the curriculum I develop is around Black history. I work with different organizations, most of them in more progressive states in the Northeast and the West Coast, that are not removing our history from our schools like they're doing in like a lot of these states right now, especially this one in Florida. And we just like I say, build around capacity. What are some of the best teaching strategies to engage and connect with Black students? How do I censor the curriculum? And also, how do I teach Black history? Because I see in spaces where Black history is taught in a deficit space. And what I mean by that is that it starts with slavery and it keeps our history bound to just repression and oppression. But they don't talk about just the full nuances and the full experiences of Black folks, which includes joy, which includes resistance to oppression, which includes romance and all the different things that human beings experience. I make sure that people understand that oppression, repression, racism, domestic terrorism, all the things that we really experience in this country, which is part of our authentic history, but our full authentic history is It's just we're human beings that have real human experience. So
I like that. Thank you for that. So, as an educator and leader, how do you think we can better support men's mental health in our communities?
the way I define a leader and even an educator is modeling, right? So if I can express and show students and young people that I care about my mental health, I'm in tune with my emotions,
Right.
prioritize therapy, right? Even if you think you don't need it, because there's so much clutter that happens within the subconscious mind
Right.
that manifests in certain actions and even certain attitudes, perspectives, and everything. So, you know, just model that, you know, and show young ones that it's okay, right? Because sometimes what happens with us as, you know, people, I'm not going to just say men, is sometimes we suffer in isolation and we think that we're the only person experiencing something.
Right.
But it's so enlightening, and it's also such a positive thing when I understand that people are experiencing some of the same troubles, some of the same issues that I contend with, but not only struggle with those issues, but are trying to address those issues.
I like how you said address, because a lot of people they have the issues and they are afraid to address it, or they feel like, for example, therapy. We all know as African Americans, we're like, I ain't going to no therapy. I ain't crazy. But it can unpack
Exactly.
some stuff that you didn't know what was wrong with you. You're like, oh, that's why I do that, because my mama did this when I was young, childhood trauma. You know, I like how you said that. Okay, what role do you believe educators and community leaders play in breaking the stigma around men's mental health?
Have that conversation. You know, be transparent, be vulnerable amongst each other as men.
Say that again.
Be vulnerable. Yeah. Be able to speak openly about your weaknesses, right? Because we share some of the same things. Again, if I can see that you're sharing it, we can hold each other accountable for some things, and also draw strength from each other, right? Where I'm weak, you can be strong, or vice versa, or we can just be weak together. But being able just to be open about that and have those conversations and expose our young people to just the world of mental health and understanding the different things that make up their collective identity. And some of those things that make up our collective identity are not always positive, you know, because some of it is traumatic events that we've experienced, right? So helping young ones understand this is the why way you may behave a certain way, right? Not saying just anybody go out there and try to be a mental health professional, right? But based off of your limited knowledge of things, you know, be able to help kids, but also being able to guide people to those resources and those people who are experts.
That's true. So, okay. So say, for example, I'm a young Black teenage boy and I'm angry, but my dad is not around. I don't have that male person who I look up to. I don't have that positive role model. So how do men like yourself and others, like, how do they provide that space for the young boys to be like, hey, young king, come talk to me?
Just like you say, just come talk to me. Start developing and building that relationship with them, right? I never would ever advocate for anybody to go in and just start digging into a kid's history,
right?
Without building that rapport first. Building that rapport, building that trust, right? And also surrounding them with other men, not just you, right? You know, I've mentored young men, and usually what I do is I bring them around to other brothers, you know, bringing them into those spaces that now you have a whole village of men around you. So I think that is one of those approaches, you know, just bringing in, building that rapport, building relationships, and also surrounding these young kings with other kings and providing that guidance.
That good exposure. I noticed that, because I noticed, like, when you expose the kids to good stuff, it helps with their self-esteem.
Absolutely.
And it's like, if they seen, you know, the guys selling drugs, selling dope, but then once they see like a man dressed up in a suit and around other men, it helps their self-esteem, where it's like, damn, like, he's smart and he got a little hood in him too. Like, you know, it's a balance. And it's like, I love to see that, because it's like, okay, we show our young men that, okay, you can have a little hood in you too, but you can still be educated too and have that balance.
It's mostly about just teaching these young people how to navigate the world. And unfortunately, we live in a society where white supremacy is just so embedded in everything that we do. It's almost like breathing air.
Yeah.
So I always say, even take a step further. And what you're saying is being able to see those positive influences, but also allowing our youth to understand that who they are is okay. Right? If you want to rock your grills, go for it, young brother.
Right. Because wait, don't you got grills?
I got multiple sets. I do. I didn't put it on this morning, which I thought about it before I walked out the house, but I was like, I ain't have time to clean it and all that.
So you got top
All bottoms.
All
I got
bottoms.
3 sets of 8 bottoms, right? So I got a rose gold, white gold, and yellow gold set.
Okay, so the next interview, because I'm going to get me some grills.
Yeah.
Open face.
I give you a great recommendation of a local spot to do that. So
okay.
I got you.
Yeah, I need that. Okay.
Yeah, but just, like I was saying, because our youth and just us as Black people in general, we're always put in a position like we're trying to be fixed. And fixing Black folks is having them assimilate and conform to middle-class white culture and epistemologies and just the way they roll and move, right?
Right.
And we start to view ourselves as bankrupt. People don't understand how much mental health issues that causes our young people, right? To show up in spaces where you're told that everything about you is wrong and you need to be addressed and you need to be, everything is just wrong, right? You're bankrupt. So you have to let people, these young people know that their communities, their cultures, their families, the traditions, the norms that they have is perfectly fine. But it goes back to your original point that you have to also teach them how to navigate, right? Just that's something that we have to do as Black people, unfortunately, know how to navigate and almost have multiple identities, depending on our spaces that we're in, right? But teach them how to do that, but most importantly, teach them how to be authentic and see, right? You're not trying to placate and you're not trying to over accommodate white folks.
Yeah, I like how you said that. So what do you do if there's some pushback? Because I notice a lot of the teens feel like it's a setup if you're trying to be nice to them. So what do you do if they have pushback, if they don't want the support, if they don't want the help?
It's just consistency in a respectful manner, consistency that's not invasive, to young people, because they may have that barrier of trust. Us as Black people, epigenetically, we have those barriers of trust, right? And with good reason, right? From everything that has happened from us and all the receipts that we have from history is already in all of us, right? And I always tell people, and when I was working in education, if you want to engage the Black community, you have to use people from the Black community as that people, right? You can't just go in and think people are going to open up to you. Right. So it's just, a matter of being respectfully consistent and not invasive with these young people and just meeting them where they are as well, right? And just letting that be a slow process of breaking down those barriers.
I like that. Thank you for that.
When you have consistency with youth, and I've seen that in education, and they build that trust when you know they're there.
Yeah.
Right? Consistently.
Yeah, and you have to that's when you have to become like the IT, the uncle show up. I have kids from when I worked in Delray. Yeah. I would be at their games on Saturdays and they'd be like, the coach would be like, well, who are you here to see? I'm here to see Darius and Naya and Janila. Why? Because I'm that support system. And it's just like, it helps when they see support and consistency, they excel better.
Exactly.
So how can we encourage men to prioritize their mental well-being and seek help when needed? Normalize
it as men, right? Normalize emotions, right? As we raise our boys, right? It's okay. Not saying, let our boys be super soft, right? Not saying that somebody's going to automatically push back on that, right? But normalize taking care of yourself. Us as men, we're always, kind of taught that we got to be on the grind at all times. Right. Incorporate self-care, right? And self-care don't have to be self-care, right? And sometimes we think self-care is synonymous to doing self-care like women do it. And even some of that is okay, right? I can get my pedicures and manicures sometimes, right? I'm not getting my nails painted for those brothers that do, no judgment, right? But, you have to make sure that you schedule and be intentional about set aside time for yourself. And also, like I say, in those young kings, that it's okay to cry.
I need you to say that again.
It is okay to cry.
Yes.
Right? It's okay to cry. Don't stay there. Right. But go ahead and feel the emotion, let it come out, but don't stay there. And also it's okay as men, especially Black men, to say that we love each other without it being like in a romantic sense, right? We have such an issue with that, right? Now, I always used to kind of preach that to my young men when I was a teacher. When y'all make it awkward to give each other compliments, but it's normal in our culture to crack on each other, right? To make fun of each other. And that's part of just what we do. Right? I still do that with my boys, but also before I ever partner with my boys, love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have to say, I love you, no homo, no diddy. That's not necessary to do, right? Because, you have to understand that it's normal that we can express our affinity towards each other in a healthy way. I love that. I love that you said that. So how do men say, I love you, without it being in a romantic way? Like, if I'm gonna do, come on, let's do it. So we at the barbershop, right? And I'm like, bruh, we acted out. Bruh, my old lady just left me. I just lost my job. Bro, I don't know. I'm doing bad. And it's okay to pull them in, but me personally, this is an act. You still going? I'm gonna do it. I just pulled up to the barbershop. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm all right,
Good,
bro.
good.
I'm stressed.
Stress, I understand, bro. I understand.
But like, I ain't got nobody, dog. Like,
You got your brother here, man. And I'm here to support you. I love you, bro. And whatever you need, just let me know what you're comfortable with and so forth. We can have that conversation.
I like that.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah, it's simple. I always got to put the bro on.
Okay.
For me personally.
So if you don't put the bro,
to me, it's just
it
awkward
weird?
to say I love you and just walk away, right? And opposed to love you, bro. Love you, man.
Okay.
Right? You put that extra noun on that. It's just to me personally, right? And you don't have to. It's just my personal preference for me to do. Because I've had men just say I love you and don't say anything else, right? And I don't look at it any kind of way, right? I know the feels. I know when something is not within my preference, right? In opposed to just somebody being authentic of saying I love you as a brother and as a brother in Christ, or just as a fellow black man. So I know what that feels like. But me personally, I just feel more comfortable putting a man in the
I love you, bro.
That's just me. That's just me. And just like, there's nothing wrong with brothers that don't do it, right? But it's just my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into some rapid fire questions. These are the fun questions, right?
All right.
So we doing karaoke. You're gonna do a duet, and then we're gonna do a solo. So what song are we doing for a duet?
You didn't put this question on.
I know.
Okay. If I do a duet, it's gonna be Make It Last Forever with Keith Sweat.
Okay.
And Jackie McGee, I think, is the person who was featured.
Okay, I know that one.
I know that song hard, yeah. So I would say solo song.
Give me a little sample.
Oh.
Brian, why? Okay.
You bugging.
All right. Give me what you gonna sing for the solo.
My solo, oh man, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with Anita Baker. There's a song called Feel the Need off her very first album, not a rap song.
Feel the Need.
Yes.
Listen, I love Anita Baker.
I'm a huge Anita Baker fan.
Really, my favorite song is Angel.
Angel, and that's on the same album, the Songstress album.
Yeah.
Right? So, yep.
That's
so
right.
I would go Feel the Need if I did my karaoke.
Listen, Anita Baker, I need to go to her concert. I think I heard her. I didn't see her. I heard her at Jazz in the Gardens, and I was just like, Anita. And I was mad because I couldn't see her.
I seen her at the Kravitz. I seen her at a rock down at Broward.
Really?
Yeah. My first time I was supposed to see her was with Maze featuring Franklin Beverly back in like early 2000.
Oh, wow.
But she canceled and they brought Stephanie Mills in, and I'm like, I'm straight with Stephanie Mills.
Yeah,
too.
that's a vibe too.
Exactly.
That's
I'm like, that's a good substitute. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so
I like that. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, because like when me and my dad, we connect through music. So when we used to live in Montana, he used to make tapes. And then he would take the lyrics from Anita Baker songs and write.
I lived in Montana. I don't mean to cut you off. I've never met a black person that lived in
Oh,
Montana.
yeah. My dad was in the Air Force.
Okay, had to be
Yeah, he was in the Air Force. Yeah. Great Falls, Montana.
Okay.
And so he used to write lyrics to my mom, like write letters.
Okay.
And it would be Anita Baker. And I was like, I always loved Anita Baker.
Words is such poetry. Like
Yes.
Stevie Wonder and all of them.
And it's just like whenever I hear Angel, it just
beautiful song.
it just does something to me. So what is your go-to stress-free relief activity? How you said it? A nap?
Like a nap. Just go in the room and put my headphones on. And so one of the things I do is I do a meditation. And my wife is giving like this audible like meditation, whatever, and literally
Really?
to put you to sleep immediately. So I do that, or I go in my garden.
Okay. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So do you I like to listen to like high frequency, like 32, 432, and then like just white noise.
Oh, you like that?
What?
I don't care for the white noise personally, right? I like to hear somebody talking.
Really? See, I
do.
can't do the guided meditation.
Yeah, I do the guided meditation, or if not, I'm an astronomy nerd. So I
Really?
go on YouTube and I go to like some of these astronomy videos.
Okay.
And you just have somebody narrating and just kind of turn the volume down slightly.
And you go to sleep with that?
Knock me right out.
Really?
And some nights, I hit my headphones in and put that on.
I might have to try that. But like I tried the guided meditation and I'm just like, I need you to shut up. I need to hear like birds, water. I
My
can't.
mind I need somebody guiding me to stay focused, right? Because my brain never stops. So silence or just nature sounds, my mind is still going to be.
Really? And see, and I'm opposite because for me, it calms down. It calms my brain down.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite.
That's crazy.
Because if I hear you saying something, I can focus on that only. And that drowns out everything else for me.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Hidden talent or hobby?
Hidden talent or hobby?
I feel like you could sing. Like sing.
No, I can't sing. I've got no voice like that.
Okay.
I used to rap at one point, right? I want to be a rapper
I can see
at
that.
one point in my life, right? So I can write poetry, literally.
You want to spit something right quick?
No.
Okay.
But you,
Okay.
you tried it, but it's okay. Rap somebody else stuff, but that's not our role. And I would say, just like I say, my hobbies is I do collect comic books,
Okay.
right? Gardening. I have a
Okay.
huge garden. I grow a lot of vegetables and fruit in the backyard.
That's
So
dope.
I can just sit out there sometime and my fertilization, all I need to do, and just kind of sit there, right? And just kind of watch what I've done in that case. And said another one would be, because I have multiple hobbies.
So what's the most impactful lesson you learned in your career?
Impact of an educator, the power of an educator, right? And I think people take their role as educators for granted, right? You have these young people for the majority of their conscious day,
Right.
and you have the opportunity to shift trajectories, change lives. Because we think in academic terms, but no, you got to think more from a perspective of qualitative data in education, right? The way that you connect, the way that you're building with students, the way that you're allowing them to see themselves. Like you have the power to like literally break generational curses to an extent as an educator. It's just the trajectory of communities as educators. Like that's why I know that our system is designed for the failure of our black kids, especially our boys.
What's your favorite way? I feel like I know this answer. Your favorite way to spend a Sunday afternoon?
You think I must say it now?
No. No, I feel like you're gonna say sitting in your backyard watching in your garden. That was a good vibe.
That's
a good Sunday vibe, listening to Anita Baker.
That is a good Sunday vibe, right? But it's summertime right now, so that afternoon humidity is something else. But I'm okay with spending a Sunday afternoon with my family, sitting quiet, not tripping out. Usually on Sunday afternoons because I cook too, so usually I start cooking around that time. So just spending time with family and being in the house, not being out there part of the world of hustle bustle, spending money.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your favorite meal to cook on a Sunday?
Oh, that's a good one. My favorite meal to cook on a Sunday. What is the one that everybody likes the most? Jerk chicken.
You jerk your chicken, you put it on the grill?
Put it on the grill.
Like, a little bit.
Yeah, jerk chicken in the oven it ain't the same.
Okay.
No. You can't pan fry it, right?
Yeah. You cook me.
Yeah, you have to put it on the grill.
Okay.
Right. So I would say my jerk chicken, and I do like rice and peas and like cornbread and stuff like that.
Cornbread. You Jamaican?
I'm not Jamaican.
What's your nationality?
I'm from here. My dad's side of the family, Bahamian.
Oh.
Right? But,
so you make stew conch?
No, I don't. No, I don't really mess with conch too much. The only way I like conch is fried.
Really?
I don't like conch salad.
Yeah, I don't like. I can't.
I don't like cold, like ceviche and all of that kind of stuff.
I had ceviche and it gave me nah.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
I was like, it's an absolutely.
Yeah. I don't like stuff like heavy vinegar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you want the people to take away from this conversation today?
I'm just understanding being in tune with yourself. And the biggest thing that I want to put out there, and just because it's the easiest lift for people, take time for yourself, right? It's okay to do nothing. But productivity doesn't have to be necessarily out there, making money or running errands or shopping and spending money or doing anything, even volunteering somewhere, right? Which is okay. All of that is great. Right. But you have to carve out time of nothingness. There's a page I follow on IG called Nap Ministry. You're laughing because you're probably familiar with it, right? And that is a ministry. Take a nap. Stop. Don't do nothing. Read a book. Do something to disconnect from this world because our society, we are overstimulated. Because if we're not working, we are on social media or we're watching this, we're always doing something, but you have to kind of take a minute and just listen to God and the universe sometimes. And I need to take my own advice on that, right? So that is something that I'm working on right now. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert and I'm there yet, right? This is a collective journey I'm calling my people to right now. And just kind of, normalize doing nothing, and I've even seen studies where it say like at least one day a week, it extends life and it does so much for our mental health. Literally, that's what God told us to do, right? Take a day aside, right? And we've turned that into an industry and the institution itself, right? So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so tell the people how they can find you and where they can purchase the workbooks.
Absolutely. So you can go to my website, and my website is teachhealbuild.com. And when I say teach, heal, Heal, and build, BUILD, right? So teachhealbuild.com. You can find me on IG, same thing, T-Chill Bill. And when you go on a website, there's a tab for shop, or you can literally just go straight to Amazon and just type in Brian Knowles, and you will see my workbook series there.
So how does it feel that like you're an author? Like
it's I have to sometimes realize I can put author on my resume and on my bio now, right? I find it real hard to sit and just talk about myself, even when I sit and write out, but it brings such I feel accomplished.
Mhm.
Like I've done things, like even with the things that you just kind of listed, before we started, I don't even think about those things that I've done, right? But I hear it like, okay, I've done some stuff. Thank
Right.
you, Lord. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
I'm serious out here in the world.
Yeah. So I would say that it just makes me feel accomplished, and it also helps me feel, I think as a young man in my vulnerability, I've always struggled with self-esteem, right? So that helps build my self-esteem to know that I've done this and I've created a quality product, not just a product. I've seen some books out here, and it's like, I want to put that back up, but I feel like I've made a quality product based off of feedback, not my own self-assessment of it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for coming in. Congratulations
Thank you. I appreciate it, sister.
And listen, it'll be a part 2. And everybody, let's prioritize our mental health. Let's provide a space for these young men, for the men to be vulnerable, to talk to us, to express themselves. And if you have any experiences or tips, you can hashtag men's mental health awareness. Also, Nene's Damn Podcast. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram. I got merch coming out soon. Nene Gemini merch is coming. And you inspired me to do an ebook. So I got a couple ebooks coming out.
Glory to God.
So thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So thank you. And what's your hashtag?
T-Chill Bill.
Okay, so hashtag T-Chill Bill. Everybody happy men's mental health awareness. Be blessed, be great, be amazing, and thank you.
Peace. Right on.